Hey everyone, I am here today to show you how to replace the NES flip top lid. So here's my replacement lid. The reason why I'm replacing this is because my NES here, as I was cleaning it with some alcohol, which I later learned is not a great idea, kind of smeared off the letters. You can see that there, smeared off some of the lettering. So I'm going to replace that here. Now, this is my first time taking apart the NES. I've never done this before. I watched a tutorial video, just kind of figure out what I'm doing exactly. So, but this is my first time. So, now the screwdriver set that I like to use, it's one of these replaceable ones. You can kind of put in whatever you need. So I have a set here that has a lot of different heads I can put in. But the problem with that is that on the bottom of the NES here, you have these holes here that have screws, or that we're going to take the screws out of, and this does not fit in there, so it's just a little too big. So if you're going to be doing this yourself, you're going to need a screwdriver like this, one that is long enough to get down in here, and that will work. So let's go ahead and get started. Before we start, I just want to let you know, if you do have this problem, you need to pick one of these up. You can get it on eBay or Amazon. I believe I got this one on Amazon. There's plenty of sellers out there that have them, and it was fairly cheap. I believe I only paid $2 for that. So basically, I'm just going to go around here. You can see on the edges there are holes, 4 screws. Looks like there's 6 in total. So right now, the screwdriver I have has a magnet tip on it, so it makes it very easy. When I pulled that out of there, you know, the screw is in there. If you don't have one of those, as in the video I saw, he basically unscrewed all of these 6 and then just flipped over the console and did that. But you have to kind of watch where your screws are going at that point so you do not lose them. So I'm working on the second screw here. It's a little hard because you're unable to see what you're doing, but it's really not hard to get the screws out at all. Now I believe that all of the screws here are the same size, same length. So I'm just taking them out, and it seems like there shouldn't be there's no importance to where they go back in, but just to be sure, I am kind of keeping track of where they came from. And that one's a little bit harder. I'm going to come back to that a little bit later. That one seems not to be coming out as easy. Maybe the ones that are on the inside are ones that I have to pull up or dump out at the end. The ones on the outside seem like they're coming out pretty easily. Now the nice thing about this is these are all just Phillips head screws. So I know a little bit later, companies begin to use special screws or the hex screws or something like that, make it a little bit harder to take things apart. But this is just regular Phillips head, so no problems there. Now, as you can see, now the console comes apart. Basically, we have the I'll show you the top kit. There go both of the screws. So the ones I said I was having a little bit of problem with, they just came out here. So there's one, and here's the other one. So I actually kept them all in the same order so that way I can kind of see where they came from. Now I just noticed the first time taking apart my NES, there is a little beetle in there. That's kind of gross. I did get this used a long time ago. Go ahead and dump that beetle out there. But here's the top cover. And here's the inside. Now while I have this taken apart, I'm going to go ahead and spray it out here with some little spray. Actually, I don't think I want to do that. I don't know. It doesn't seem that bad. There's just a little bit of dust in there. I'm going to go ahead and leave it. Maybe at another point I will take it apart and clean it again. But for this video, I'm just going to go ahead and take the cover out here and get this part replaced. Now, from what I've seen, you're going to need, I might be able to use my other screwdriver here, very small Phillips head. So it's my smallest point on there because I need to take out this screw here. It is holding in this little metal hinge, or not really a hinge, but basically what it does is it gives the NES this kind of lock-in feature, the kind of snap-back feature that kind of thing. Makes it kind of snap in place, a little bit of resistance. So that is what I'm taking out here, and the same on this side. All right, so go ahead and do that. All right, so this, I just see that now as I get a little bit closer, is not a Phillips head. It's actually a flathead, so I'm going to go grab one of those. Same again though, I have another set here, and this is all my flatheads and my hex screws on there, so I'm going to do my smallest flathead there. As you can see, pretty tiny. There we go, starting to come loose. These are very tiny screws. Basically, you can see the little screw that came out there, and this is the little metal flap, little metal thing you have. Now I'm working on the other side. And there's the other side. Like that. So very small pieces we're working with here. Don't want to lose those. All right, so one of the things I found after watching a little video, a little pro tip, if you will. So now you can see this hinge does not have that resistance anymore. It'll still work. It's still in place there. It can't come out, but it just doesn't have the resistance. Now, you want to be careful with this next part because it could cause you some trouble if you don't do this. And what I found out from that video is that there's this little black piece right here that is actually holding in this cover. So what you want to do is flip it over. It's got the same two screws that you found here, and they are right here. So you want to take those out, and that will allow you to take the hinge off. So same size, very small screws here. There we go. So now, when I lift it up, you can see this little black piece comes off there. So I'm just going to set that to the side. And now the cover just comes right off. So this is my old flap. Compared to the new flap, you can see just a slight bit of color difference. The old one here, the new one here. So the new one doesn't have the kind of yellow, or doesn't have as much of the yellowing going on there. You see with some of this plastic. Now I'm just going to take the new flap, stick it in here, and it just falls right in place like that. So new flap just fell right in place. You can see that's where the black piece goes to cover it up. So I'm going to now take the black piece, set it on here, like so. And then I'm going to flip it over, holding both of these in place, and then put the screws back. screws are very tiny, so you have to make sure you're getting it in straight so you don't strip it or get it in crooked, you know. Try not to over tighten this so don't snap any of this old plastic. Just screwing it down until there's a little bit of tension. Alright, and make sure I got that one. That one seemed a little bit loose. Alright, now I'm going to take these metal hinges, put them back in place. And take these screws and put those back in. These are very tiny, hard to get my big fingers in there. Let me see if I can get that though. So I'm getting this first one in. Notice as I tighten it down, I can kind of see the hinge or the flap I just put in begins to get a little more adjusted into the right place. Kind of moves on its own, just gets situated. Alright, so just making sure I got these in snug, not too tight. And now, let's see how this works. So there we go. It's a nice, I have that resistance there again. You see it kind of flips up. It stays, it's got that little tension there as we're all used to with the NES Flip Cover. And a little bit of discoloration. You can see a little bit of change in the color there. This it's a bit more yellow around here, around the older part, and the new flip cover. Except on the top of my particular machine, you can't really tell much of a difference. This is basically the same color. It's got the same texture. It's a very nice replacement part. And on the front, you know, it's smooth just like this. Just a little bit of difference in the color on the front. Other than that, it looks nice and new. So that way, you know, I don't have this fading that kind of bothered me before. Alright, so for those that are interested, I'm going to show a little look at the inside of the console, because this is my first time seeing the inside of an NES. Basically, you know, I don't really know what all these parts are, but it looks pretty simple. Most of the machine is actually taken up by the cartridge loading bay there. So alright, so I'm going to go ahead and get started on putting this back together. So I'm just going to stick this on the top on there and flip it over and begin to put these screws back in. So just going to, I got that magnetic screwdriver. I think that'll be pretty helpful. Stick it down in there, just screw it back in. These were a little bit tighter, so I'm just doing a little bit tighter than I did on the inside. Still don't want to go too tight. I don't want to snap that plastic. This is pretty old. I don't know how much pressure it can really take. Again, I kept all my screws in the right place where they came out from, but I don't think that's a big deal. They all look to be the same size. bit of resistance on this one. If I can try that, go back in there. There we go. I think I may have had that one going a little bit crooked, so if you feel any tension before you get down towards the end, then you probably had it crooked as I just did, and you don't want that. You could strip out where you're screwing in, because it's just a plastic guide for these screws. Alright, so that's the reassembling of the NES, and now I have my nice replacement flip cover here. I didn't really have any problems with this. I think it's a really simple process. If you have any problems with your lid, if it cracks, if you had something like me, the lettering's fading off and you want to replace that, very simple process. Nothing to be afraid of here. You just need a Phillips screwdriver. Be sure to get the longer one. I recommend the magnetic tip. Makes it easier. Not too wide. One of these will not work for the back part. However, you need a small flathead screwdriver, and this is perfect for that. This very small end on that, and that's what you need on the inside. So thanks for watching my video. If you are interested in more stuff like this, I am a co-host of the Nintendo Club podcast, and we record that show at 8 p.m. Eastern and 9 p.m. Eastern. The first hour is a more focused show. The second hour is a kind of look at the week in Nintendo, just a wide range of topics, and you can view that at youtube.com/TCHATEN, and also at the Google Plus community, Nintendo Club Podcast. But if you are interested in more stuff like this, one of the other co-hosts of the show, John, he has a Nintendo Versus machine, I believe. From what I hear, the collectors call it a red tint. So it looks pretty interesting, and he recently did a video over on his YouTube channel, and that is John's Nintendo Carts. So go over there and check that out if you want to see a bunch of old NES carts that he has. He has a lot of Super Nintendo carts, N64. Huge collection over there. Interesting to see what he has, and also see his restoration project of this machine. So thanks for watching, and check out the Nintendo Club podcast, and also check out my channel later on. I will be uploading a little more videos of updating my game collection and possibly taking apart some other systems.